Good day, good afternoon, good night. How you doing? This is MCM and you're listening to You're Probably Right. Today we are going to have a serious conversation. Well, maybe not a serious conversation, but there's going to be a serious talk happening here. Now, of course, I'm only doing the talking, but just stay tuned. Hey, yo, what's up? It is your boy, your man, MCM, and this is You're Probably Right. And a little different vibe today, and it's going to be a very short one. But aren't you glad? Yes, I am. Why am I glad? Because they did not trade Russ. That's right, number 0, LA's finest, dropping balls and giving up all kinds of steals and turnovers. My man, Russell Westbrook, is still in LA, and I am happy. So happy. You know, I'm really tired of people and their shenanigans in the background of situations and people's lives all the time. Sometimes, people think that it's okay to just ride somebody's tail over and over and over. I know there was big moves made. I know James Harden and Ben Simmons switched teams, so now James Harden is on Philadelphia and vice versa with Ben Simmons, which a lot of people were, hoping and waiting to see. Maybe he got his shot fixed. I don't know. There's all kinds of stuff that happened, but this really isn't about that. I know I'm talking basketball, but this isn't really about basketball. My issue is watching all of the coverage about Russell Westbrook and the LA Lakers and how bad he was. It got so bad that the LA crowd actually started to boo their hometown boy. And to tell you the truth, honestly, I'm sick of it. People, they were riding this guy like if he was a bad politician and he did nothing but evil to them in LA. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why people are like that. I think about it. He's an athlete. Yes, he's getting paid a lot of money, but the reason why he's getting paid a lot of money is because he earned it. He's played so well all of these years. He's averaged a triple-double. People say, he was just number chasing or he was stat hungry or whatever it was. Okay, fine. The point is, as many other NBA players have said, do you think there's not other players who would like to average a triple-double for 2 seasons straight? Or was it 3? Or at least a double-double? But, he's a guard. He's undersized in some respects, but he's a big guard. But he could be a finisher. I mean, if you ask me, he's more of a small forward. But he plays as a point guard. But he needs the ball in his hand. The reason why Russell has been so good and on his previous team, when he was on the Thunder especially, it's because he had the ball in his hand. Once they got rid of a lot of players, that's when he really shined. When they got rid of Durant, when they got rid of Harden, that's when he shined. Because the ball, he was the go-to guy. He would bring the ball up, he would make a couple moves, and he would score. And usually he'd be driving to the basket. The basketball NBA has changed its focus. Most teams shoot a lot of threes now. He happens to be one of those guys who doesn't really shoot a lot of threes, but he's used to being a guy who can basically do whatever he wants on the floor, and that has to do with being able to drive and dunk. Yes, he's probably lost an inch or two off of his vertical, or he just doesn't have that explosive power every game. Think about it. He's the only guy that's played every single game, at least out of the stars of the LA Lakers. He's played every single game, 55 games. LeBron's been off, AD's been off, Melo's been here and there, and Dwight Howard and who else? And Jordan. There's been a bunch of guys in and out. Ellington was out for a while. So he's been your consistent player. Yes, he's been throwing the ball around and he's been trying to hit that perfect angle bank shot. And yes, he gets to the rim and he misses a layup or so because he used to dunk those balls. Yeah, well, you know what? The man's tired. The man is stressed. You're riding his tail in every comment section of every social media provider. Of course the guy's going to have issues. I'm tired, and this is what I was saying when I spoke about cancel culture on one of my other podcasts. It's like, come on, give the guy a break. He's actually a human. This man is a family man, and he's a hard-working basketball player. You can say anything else, but he's hard-working. Yeah, you can pick up a couple times where he blows his coverage on the defensive side of the ball, but there's other players on that team. Matter of fact, the main player the reason why I actually follow the team still, LeBron, he blows his defensive coverage all the time. Yeah, he's going to score 28 points, and yeah, he's a Hall of Famer, and yeah, he's one of the top 2 best players ever. But he's still blowing the coverage, and it does make him look, it makes Westbrook look a lot worse, of course, when he's on the floor. And then last night, of course, on Wednesday, February the 9th, of course, they looked bad. Russ decided to say, you know what, I got a bad back. Well, great, you guys figure it out. And that's exactly what they had to do, And I think, honestly, listen, the trade deadline is over. It's today, the 10th of February, 2022. It was at 4 o'clock today that they were supposed to make up their mind whether they're trying to do something or not. They probably weren't offered a lot. I mean, LA fans were booing the man. The body language between AD and LeBron was horrible when Russ came up to them and, said, sorry, I wish I could be out there, whatever. They just kind of turned their heads and it was like, whatever. You've been playing like trash and leaving it, whatever. And, I think the guy must have went home and said, you know what? I've been carrying this team. Yes, I've made a lot of mistakes, a lot of errors, and maybe I haven't owned up to every single thing that the public or the newscast would like me to own up to, but guaranteed I showed up every night and I worked hard. Now, yes, some of the shots and some of the plays look horrible, but he was there. And I just think I think as a fanatic or a fan of a team, you're supposed to be there for your guys. You're there and you're going crazy when he's dunking on people. You're there when he's, getting all kinds of left-handed, right-handed layups and dunks and he's hitting the 3-point shots and he's going with the no-look passes to LeBron to reverse dunk or AD or whatever it is, or the alley-oops, but as soon as he starts messing up, you're on his tail. He's been doing this when either LeBron or AD were not there. You need 3. You need 3 very good players to do anything in the NBA now. And yes, Monk has been very good at times, and Carmelo Anthony has been very good at times, and that's basically what they've had to depend on this whole time. You'd have a couple guys going, and you'd have Monk or you'd have Carmelo come in with an extra 25 points out of the blue. But of course, you didn't have that last night. You had 2 of your 3 going, and that's what you ended up with. You ended up falling short by 5 or 6 points. That's just how it goes. You had no one to put the fear of God in these players. You just had pretty good players, and they were all playing slow yesterday. And you also had guys who were probably showing out yesterday just in case they were going to get traded. CJ was gone, so it freed up the floor for the younger guys to, go crazy. So now everybody's going crazy over this loss to the loss that the Lakers took at the hands of the Portland Trailblazers. But really what it was these guys knew that today was the day that they might be traded. If they're happy where they were, or they wanted to get to a good place, then they had to show out. The Lakers had no motivation to work hard yesterday, except for the fact of their schedule and their record. But the bottom line is what I'm saying is, as I said, this is a very short talk here. It's just get off people's backs. If you see 15 people piling on one person, maybe you should rethink your dirty, ugly comments and think about how could I support this person, because he is a human being. I'm tired of them vilifying this man. Would you like him to give back some of his paycheck, maybe? Like, what is it exactly you would like him to do? He's worked hard for all the years he's been in the NBA, and everybody was going crazy when he was coming to LA Lakers. Now, I know people like Skip and Shannon will say, it's not a good fit. Skip will be there, they're going to do what they're going to do. They still got LeBron James, yada, yada, yada. And Skip Bayless, who was right, and we will give him credit, it has been a weird fit. But again, the only thing that I would say according to what he thinks as far as a weird fit is the bottom line is they haven't all three been in more than 25 games this season. So give it a chance. Watch what happens. If they get in the play-ins, they will be in the playoffs. Bottom line, if they're in the play-ins. And I believe that they're going to probably hover around 500 to maybe 3 or 4 games under, I don't know, for a while. And, hopefully they'll get it going after the All-Star break. They're not going to be messing around. And I think they'll slowly claw back. Now we just need some of the regular players, the role players, to get some consistency. I can say that J.R. Smith, when he was playing with LeBron, he was very streaky. Really reminds me of Monk. And they could really go off. And Monk's been more consistent than, say, J.R. probably would be, except for defense. J.R. goes hard on the defense. I almost wish he was on the Lakers, even with his eccentric ways. Maybe you need somebody like that. You don't need a star player to be your eccentric guy like Russ is, obviously, to these people. But the bottom line is, all I'm saying, and this is just a good example, get off people's backs, okay? It doesn't matter if they're an amazing musician or an amazing athlete or even a politician. Nobody's perfect. And when you're in the limelight every single day for your job, you might make some mistakes too. I mean, think about it. Some of you have problems like I do sometimes, public speaking in front of large crowds in their face, physically, face to face, not online. But could you imagine having to do whatever it is you do every day in front of, let's say, 10, 12 million, maybe more, really, because there's also YouTube videos where people can just take a snapshot of your workday. Imagine they were doing that every day. And imagine if let's just say you work at McDonald's. Could you imagine somebody saying you're an idiot, you didn't pack the fries properly, just standing over you, just watching what you're doing? You'd get nerve-wracked too. Not to mention you're at home. So the people who you've grown up around and in the city that you've grown up around, who you know a lot of people who've watched you grow and play basketball for years, even before you got to the NBA, they're all of a sudden booing you. And I'm not sitting here saying that Russell Westbrook has played amazing basketball, but I also think he's been consistent. And yes, at sometimes he's been more consistently bad this year than good. Well, everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off year. I'm sure you can think back and say, you know what? This was my best year. This was my worst year. For work even, not only just in your life. So, again, I'm happy that they had no choice probably to keep him. And I hope, Russ, if you're listening, and what's the chances? But I mean, it's possible. Russ, I hope you take off a week. Take off whatever it is now, all the way till after the All-Star break, if I were you. But of course, I don't have to live with your consequences. But you know what? I guarantee you, people, the booing in LA is going to stop. I guarantee you. And some of you LA Laker fans who were booing in the garden after, garden. What is it? I don't even know what the thing's called. It's like the Bitcoin Center, whatever it is. I guarantee you're gonna stop, because you know what? You want your team to see the playoffs this year. So, what's this? Nick Smith replied, "They down 1 point. You just a hater." Okay, I don't know what happened with whatever he said. Oh, I guess they were saying something about Russ not being there. Yeah, I made a comment on a video last night saying about it. They're calling me a hater. Well, guess what? He said they're just down 1 point. They lost. Let's see what else they had to say to me yesterday. Frederick Barnes replied, "We have looked worse with him." Okay, so Nick Smith and Frederick Barnes, who decided to comment on the same video that I commented on, you know those highlights where they just show the first quarter? Okay, well, yeah, they commented on that. And unfortunately for these two gentlemen, they lost the game, guys. And yeah, I called you out because you put your right name on there. So, yeah, so that's how it is. Let's see. It's the Portland Trailblazers versus the Los Angeles Lakers, full highlights of the first quarter. Yeah, so they decided to jump on me because I made a comment. And my comment was, oh, there it goes. Don't look so good without Westbrook. And yeah, they wanted to reply to that. And they don't look good and they lost. So I guess I was right. Anyhow, if you disagree with everything I have to say, you know what? I'm right. You ain't right. It is what it is. Anyhow, take care. Till next time. Yeah, I do talk about sports every once in a blue moon, as you can see from the cover of my podcast that there is a basketball on there. So sometimes I'll talk a little sports. I used to be a big sports player and sports fan. Now I've kind of scaled it back a little bit, but I mean, if it gets interesting, you know, I'll say something. And of late, I've been on the Russell Westbrook bandwagon because I always will root for the underdog because that's my style. Anyhow, till next time, this is MCM and this has been You're Probably Right because I probably am. Take care.